Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another podcast, Bounds of Opinions, with your boy Kingy Crush Glass. I'm Manila.
Da Vinci.
I'm my homeboy.
Kootenai.
My famo.
I wasn't sure which one.
And my famo.
Busy.
All right, okay. Today's is a Father's Day special. I thought, it would be nice to have these two fathers in, seeing that their family dynamics are different than others. So, who wants to start first, Kootenai or Busy?
Go ahead, Kootenai.
Want me to start?
Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, I guess, I've always been a father, it seems like I've been a father longer than I've been alive, like half my life. My kid's going to be 17 this year. Yeah, and I turned 34 this year, so I don't remember much life without a kid. But, I had him young, and now I have two other kids, so yeah, it's different. It's different raising like a teenager that's almost a grown man, and then you have two little infants and toddlers running around. My older son, half Filipino, younger ones are Caribbean, Jamaican, and Guyanese. It's good. Like, it's different, right? I was thinking about that because, probably all my kids, they see their grandma. Their grandpa's Jamaican, grandma's Guyanese, grandma on my side Native, and then my dad is Métis. So I just look at all types of the world. Yeah, it's good. Hopefully they don't really see no color growing up.
Yeah.
Everything's so different, but yeah, it's good. You see him jamming out to his reggae, and then he'll want to listen to some powwow.
Yeah. Hey, that's good though. That's good, man. You're giving them, culture, right? That's the main thing. Yeah. I mean, anything changed though? Like from having one son to now having two more kids, almost kind of like back to back. Like it was that. If you could have had all three of them at the same time, would you have done that at a younger age, or do you like the dynamic that you have now?
Yeah, it gave me time to grow with my older son, because I was doing school and work and all that. It was hard. It was different. As a single father, it's different having, a parent in the household, like my wife, there all the time, and her family's so supportive. Because before it was just me and my family. Dante's mom she's around, but it's different. Just split parenting. Took us a while for us to actually be on calm terms with each other. It's just go by the court orders. He goes to their house on the weekends, minimal talking and stuff. So, you get to see a kid have that soft maternalistic side when they're crying and stuff, right? So it took me a long time to realize, men are so used to saying to their boys, stop crying, don't cry, don't let them show that emotion side, that they bottle it up. And now, they're always around their mom. They're a little bit softer, but it's good. You just can't bottle it up. You go crazy.
Yeah.
True.
Okay. What about you, Busy? What's going on with you, Busy? How's your dynamic?
Oh man, I haven't been a father as long as Jermaine, but I have been a figure for a long time, like a father figure, I would say. When it comes to my cousins, my friends, I've always been the bigger person, I guess you can say, trying to take care of everybody else. I've always had this protective mentality.
Yeah.
Amongst my friends, my family. So I got, really got into football and stuff like that too. Because, you kind of if you have that protector mentality, you want to go out there and protect other people. I had my boy when I was 17. I had my boy when I was just about 19. Sorry. I had him on March 20th. I turned 19 on March 23rd. With my high school sweetheart, and things were well for a little bit. I'm very, very passionate about doing things right and doing things as hard as I possibly can. So I worked really, really hard to try to build a future for all of us. During those times, you're young. She's young. I was young, and while I was working, she was, she wanted to have fun. And I didn't want to do any of that. I didn't want to go to the clubs. I didn't want to do any of that kind of stuff, and it kind of tore us apart. For the better though, the best thing about Joelle, the mother of my son Antoine, is that her and I are friends. Even though we're no longer lovers, we're really, really good friends. And I sit back and I listen to your story, Jermaine, and I've seen a lot of friends. I heard a lot of their stories. Court orders and weekends and this and that and that and this. And there's times where I dislike her, just how she dislikes me. But I'm blessed to know that her and I are able to kind of come together and allow us to both raise Antoine in a good way.
Yeah.
Other than that, like I have my niece as well. My brother was taken from us at a young age, and he had a young daughter, Kira, who we also brought into our home. So, she's currently 18 right now. So she's it's hard because, like, even though she's not that came from my seed, she's always been family to me. I mean, whether she's my niece, what that looks like. Because when my brother had when I was in grade 8, to me she was almost like a sister. Now she was really close to me. And then over the course of time, I became like her uncle, and I became like an adult myself. And as she started growing up, she started looking to me more as a father figure. She saw her dad in me, so that became like her father figure in her eyes as well. So, I became 3 different parts of a person for her, and at times that it was difficult for me to coach her, difficult for me to parent her, difficult for me to accept certain things like her having a boyfriend. Still just can't really accept that, but she's growing up, and I gotta understand that she's gonna be her own person. But throughout all this, I was try to become a bachelor, and we know how it is, young black males, we like to go out there and make things happen when we're single, turn things up, I guess you can say. So I did that for quite some time before, and DJ knows he's living in my basement. He would never get to sleep. So he's like, quiet that headboard down. Sorry, son.
This guy, man. This guy.
But during all the juking, I found someone, my wife right now, Sarah, and we have 2 beautiful daughters. We have one that just turned 5, one that's turning 1 years old here in July. So I got a big mixture in our house. Like it's crazy because I'm from a very, very cultured background, like very, very Jamaican. We believe like in Jamaica you have like your whole entire family helps you grow. Every Jamaican person I know, most colored people I know, they spent time with their grandmas, granddads. They get beat by them. They get beat by their uncles. Spend time with your cousins. You grew up with your family. So it's really, really nice because our house we have. And not just that, you always have like your older siblings. Like that was the one thing I remember about my brother is that your older siblings always take care of you. And every time I ever met like any of my brother's friends had little brothers, little sisters, they always took care of them. That's just your role as the big brother, big sister. You take care of your siblings. So like as of right now in our household, having Kira at 18, Antoine at 13, they're able to come down and take care of my kids when I have to work or Sarah's cooking dinner. We know we can trust them. Take them out to the park, and we know that if anything ever happens or someone tries to pull something outside, that my other kids are gonna always step up and make things happen because they're protectors as well. So I think the best thing about all of this when it comes to my family is just that we come together as a family. And every family is different. No family is perfect, but it's perfect in their own way, And as long as you make perfect out of that family, I think it's just the best thing ever. I've grown up in every way, shape, or form that you can possibly think of, and I would never. I mean, I grew up in Russet Court. People be throwing rocks at people.
Run DLE, fam.
Run DLE, and there's lots of different things happening up there, lots of crazy things, but I would never change it all because I learned a lot. I learned a lot from the people I grew up with. I learned a lot watching the kind of things that people would do, and made me the man I am today, and made me the father I am today. So yeah, that's me and my story.
Okay. You want to go now, and you want me to go? Don't matter.
So, man, you can hit it up.
All right. Well, my daughter just turned 5 2 days ago.
Happy belated.
Yeah, thank you. She was born on Father's Day. I decided not to have kids when I was young because I was just reckless, like drinking so much. I didn't even start driving until I was I think probably 27, 28. Like I was just partying hard out here. Like Bum would say, juking down the place, wilding out, getting into all types of trouble. My wife, I knew her from high school. So like me and her kind of disconnected, whatever. And then, around 26, 27 is when I met her. And then we kind of just hit it off. And one stereotype for me, or a stigma, I should say, actually, was like me and most of my cousins were bastards. So like I wanted to get married before I had my kid. Even though it's nothing that's super important, for me, it was just in the back of my head, I was like, yo, let me just do this. Got married, had my daughter. Having a girl is different, man. first one being a girl, you know what I mean? Might get a second one. I don't know. Might have to Bill Cosby the wife for that one, but yeah, definitely it's a game changer. I know now I have to get myself right and get a gun license. You know, there's people out here that are a little too frisky. Uh, other than that, just try to show her the respect that she deserves and show her that when she goes outside, the same respect she gives is the same respect she's gonna get. So she needs to know, you know what I mean? Not everything has to be answered in an aggressive manner or in a tone where people can say, "Oh, see, this," you know what I mean? Being humble and working hard. You know what I'm saying? So
Well, you know, as all you guys can relate to this, the moment you found out you're gonna have a child, it was just like a completely switch. You change, and then once you hold that child forever, like the first time, you change even more. You just it's a switch, man. You just completely change. Being a father, man, it's for me, it's my greatest achievement, man. Hands down.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
all the things I've ever achieved in my life, being a father was the greatest one, you know. And I get the whole Father Day thing. I run with it, but you guys all know this. Every damn day is Father Day, man. You know, every day's Father Day. Every day's Mother's Day, bro. It's like there's no day off, man. And it's sometimes it's tougher than the 9 to 5, bro.
Sometimes, all the
Yeah,
time. You know, you
yeah.
know.
Let's be real.
Yeah,
Like,
but it's not the same kind of toughness though, right? It's a toughness though when it's all said and done, you're like, yes,
yeah, yeah,
because you're doing something. Like it's working for the man is completely different than working for your fam, and
yeah.
I think it says a lot about the person. Like and I'm sort of cut in, but one thing, and I just love what you're saying, and one thing I've always believed is like when it comes to looking at a father is like how a father treats his family when no one is looking determines the type of father that person actually is. Because there's a lot of people out there that are fake, that are kind of fake, and they'll like be the best person in the world in front of all their friends and everything like that. But as soon as they
Yeah.
get to the house, they lock themselves in the room, play video games all day or something like that, and spend no time with their kids, right? But it shows being a good father is doing all the things when no one else is looking, So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree with that. There's a lot of fathers that's only father when it's to show off, for show.
yeah,
I completely agree with you. That's fake shit. Yeah, but yeah, man, being a father is amazing, man. Even all those nights you guys know, 3 o'clock in the night, no sleep, 5 o'clock. You know,
Yeah. Just tired as shit.
yeah,
yeah.
who do you look at right now?
Sleep? What sleep?
I'm tired, man.
Cootie said you're preaching, man. I ain't even gotta say it, man. The man said you just yeah.
Man,
Oh man.
my little infant, 1 year, all these molars are coming in, so it's just been, like, they just freak out.
So let me all ask y'all a question, man. Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna ask that question. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna there's people who have kids, whether man or male, right? Who kind of leave them somewhere else all the time, like you guys were talking about, show off and kind of only when it's special occasions, you see them with the kid. You don't really see them, you know what I mean? And they live in two different households. Is that something that you think is very productive for a child to have? Like, have you guys all had your father in your life, your whole life, whether they were with somebody else or with your mom?
I'll start with that one. So I was blessed enough to have my parents together the entire time. I was blessed enough to have them still be together. I know not everyone has that same type of relationship, and but I think that at times it's you got to do what you work with, man. Like I would rather spend 5 days with my kid than no days with my kid. I think that as long as you're there and you try to be there and you fight to be there, what you showcase is the ability, the drive to be like, hey, somebody wants me as a child, and that'll be them the entire life. But the worst case scenario is like, hey, if this is going to happen, there has to be 2 locations to live at, and someone's not fighting to be there with their child. That child becomes like resentful. you know? And that's when you start saying like, oh, I don't have a dad. They start calling some other person their dad or that looks like. So I think that no matter what, you can't, I'm under the mindset that I would always rather have two households that love the child, that's happy and loving, than one household that's destructive and the entire time there's fighting. Because then you're not showcasing love in that aspect. And you want your kids to grow up seeing what a relationship looks like. And if they grow up looking at a relationship where the people are fighting, they're swearing, and all that kind of stuff, they're gonna think that that's what love is. They're gonna think that's what like relationships are, and they might go out there and do the exact same thing, and it becomes a cycle of like hate and dislike and not love, right? So again, I would rather, even though I grew up in a home which my parents were there, I am happy that Joel and I have two separate homes that are loving, that Anton can go to in both sides and feel safe safe in those two locations.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up for most of my childhood with my dad. So I spent like probably 11 to 12 years just with my dad. And yeah, because my mom, she moved to Canada when I was like young. So it was kind of different when I came up here with my mom and stuff. It was kind of different as you haven't seen your mom for like 11 to 12 years, right? So it was kind of hard, even to call her mom, you know? So yeah, that was definitely hard, but once I got settled in and stuff, I understand things were done, so I don't blame no parts, but your mom is your mom. Doesn't matter what, man. At the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, my parents were together until I think I was like probably 8 or 9, and then they split. They're both not here, but they were great parents in the sense of I knew there was love in either, even though they kind of bashed each other. Well, not my dad, but my mom kind of was always bashing on my dad. I knew sometimes he did fuckboy shit. You know what I mean? I'd rather have him say sorry than my mom kind of bash him. But other than that, though, I got love from both sides. Like my dad was like my best friend. You know what I mean? I could go to my dad's house with a case of beer, some weed, and some bitches. He just let me go to town. You know what I mean? My mom was like, "I'll kill you with that girl in the house." And she caught me a few times. You know what I mean? I had to push the girl out the window, like, "Yo, I don't even talk about. I'm sleeping." You know what I mean? While I'm catching a whipping, but no, I think, like Bun said, if there's love in both houses, and you're safe, just like you said, you're safe when you go there. I think that's cool. For me, it's just kind of like there's a lot of guys that are part-time fathers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? They just do funny stuff, and then like I said, they pray their kids out. But if you're doing it behind the scenes and you're actually there, it doesn't matter what people see. You know what I'm saying? Because like Bun said, it's kind of not a catch-22, but if you're doing it to show everybody, that means that you're not really doing it. You're just doing it for show. You know what I mean? There's no genuine feeling to what you're doing. You're just parading your kids out here like you would parade a girl or a new car. You know what I mean? You're not really taking value in another person's life that can, go on to do great things.
Yeah. Yeah, like well, me growing up, my mom was young too. My mom was like 17 when she had me, right? So her and my dad, they're always fighting. When you're young, you have kids or someone, they're always fighting. But they ended up splitting when I was like 13, and we chose to live with our dad. They like sat us down. They're like, "Who do you want to live with?" And we're like, "Oh, we want to live with our dad." My dad was always the one raising us. My mom was going to school, working. Like my mom was the provider, so my dad stayed home. And then my dad ended up being with some other woman, and then that woman left him to go up north. And then, yeah, my dad basically fucked off and said, "All right, I'm moving up north. You guys got to find a place to live." So like that has a lot of resentment with me and my brothers towards my dad, right? Even to this day, we still kind of feel a little type of way about it. I was like 17. Right? 17. My brothers were 14, 13. My mom was pissed off because she's like, "You guys chose to live with your dad. I don't want you guys to live with me."
Yeah.
You guys chose your dad. Like, where's your dad?
That's
now?
rough. She should have
Right?
shut y'all niggas. She said, "Yo, man, kick rocks. Y'all picked the wrong side." Damn.
But like, I was kind of okay because like I was living with Dante's mom because she's getting some like Alberta Alberta benefit that would like pay for us to live in a house. So it was okay. But my brother Steve was like 14, living on his own. My mom's like, I'll rent you a basement. I don't want you to live with me. And then so it took a while.
Well, at least you didn't leave them on the street though.
Yeah.
Right? Like your dad left you on the street. He was like, "Yo,
yeah,
Indy 500, and he back for himself."
It's like 2 weeks. And then like shit. I was like, all right. So yeah. And then after that, I was like, man, I could never leave my kid. Like a lot of my family was mad at my dad for that. Like his brothers and stuff. They're like, I understand he doesn't want to be with your mom, but like he can't just leave you 4 kids there. Because like I was the oldest and I was only 17. They're like 17, 14, 12, and I think like 10. And yeah, we were just all on our own for a while. But yeah, it took a while for us to get over it. And then it kind of brought us closer to our mom, right? After that, like my mom was nicer and she was that maternalistic person. Like, cause she wasn't so much worried about us. She was more worried about like her brothers. Cause my uncles aren't too much older than me and they lived a crazy life, right? So she was always just trying to look out for her brothers. Like, like my grandma wasn't passed away. So she's like, I got to look after my brothers. So her number one mindset was like always her brothers. Cause, my mom didn't drink, do drugs, but her brothers are like heavily addicted, gang life, in and out of jail all the time. So she's always trying to help them. She's like, you guys are going to be good. Like, like you guys got a father, you're all right. So we always kind of on the back burner with my mom. But now we're front and center. She's here with the grandkids. She's always around. Like, when you're living with the parents, it's just not good sometimes. And you move into your own spot and then everything's back to normal and you get to see them for like the person that they are, which is good. And yeah, even my mom and dad, they get along now. Like they're both downstairs just chilling right now. See my mom wish my dad happy Father's Day.
You're a dickhead. Cootie said everyone else says to wish my mom and my dad a happy Father's Day. You're cold, fam.
No. My mom wished that to my dad.
Yeah.
They didn't talk.
I thought I heard it the other way. You went down there and said it to them. I was like, what? This guy's crazy.
No, my mom wouldn't talk to my dad because, like, my dad left my mom for like a younger girl, right? My mom was pissed.
My dad did the same thing. Don't worry.
Yeah, right.
Doggy dog.
My mom didn't talk to my dad for like years. Maybe within like the last 4 or 5 years, she started to talk to him again. Like she just let bygones be bygones, right? She was the bigger woman, but yeah, for years they couldn't be in the same room. Didn't go to my brother's graduation because my dad was there.
Wow.
Yeah.
But she has a reason to, man. You can't blame somebody for being scorned like that, right?
Yeah. So like, literally, like that's your whole life. I don't blame her, right? You have 4 kids with the man. You're with him for 18 years, and all of a sudden he's like, all right, it's over. I got like a young girl.
Yeah. That's madness. If there's one thing that you guys learned that you can tell other fathers in your journey in fatherhood, what would be the one thing you could tell them?
Bro, okay, listen, man. If you gonna be man enough to get in bed with a girl, bro, and it's all good and sweet then. And when your kid is born, you gonna run away, you don't take care of your kid? I got some like words I want to say, but I'm gonna say that's.
Go ahead and say them, man. This is a safe space.
I don't know if there's kids around in the background for anyone, so.
Just use different words, my friend.
But I think that's the worst thing you can do, man. It's the worst thing you can do. If you don't get along with your baby mama, that's okay, man. Yeah. Just try your best to be there for your kid, man. You know what I'm saying? It's not about the baby mama. And that's the thing, too, when both parents need to understand, because one parent, it might be the guy, it might be the woman. Don't be selfish. Put the kid first, put the kid in front. Whatever you do, you're going to work for the kid. You can't put yourself in front of the kid. So my thing was to always put the kid first. Doesn't matter what. You guys don't like each other? That's okay. Said, yo, you want to pick up your kid? Come to the door. Don't look at me. I'm cool. I won't look at you. Just grab the kid. Go.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's be real about it, man. Just put your kids first, man.
Yeah, it even goes as far as even when like you're fighting with your aunties. Cause I remember growing up, my mom would fight with her aunties, and then we couldn't see our cousins and stuff. And my dad used to be like, yo, just because you guys are fighting doesn't mean that the kids can't see each other. You guys don't like each other. You guys are always fighting. Just let them go see his cousins and stuff. So there's a lot of times that my mom was fighting with my uncles and aunties, but like me and my cousins were so close that we were just able to go out there and, as much as she was mad at her aunties then, it's all about the kids, man, building that bond.
True, brother. True.
I'm only like 5 years deep in this game, man. I'm a baby out here. You know what I mean? Breath smell like Similac wet behind the ears. But one thing I would definitely recommend is do the little things, man. It's not really about buying gifts and all that. You know what I mean? Like, take them places, let them experience. Try to learn who they are. Don't imprint what you want them to be. Do you know what I mean? Let them grow, let them flourish. Try to, whatever interests them, make sure you know what I mean? You try to focus on that, even if you're not with it. You know what I'm saying? Because they're being molded now. If all you're gonna do is, take them 1-2 places, coop them up, don't have them doing anything that they want to do. Everything's what you want to do. It's not gonna work. You're gonna end up messing up the kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really messing up the kid. Because I know for me, like, I learned how to swim, snowboard, ski, all that stuff at a young age. I was like probably around 12 or 13. You know what I mean? At this time, my parents weren't even with each other. But it was like, if I want my dad, him and his friends to take me out. We go do this. My mom, same thing. You know what I mean? So it was like, I got to learn a lot of things early and experience and figure out what I wanted to do. Because I had the freedom between my parents, whether they were together or not. You know what I mean? It wasn't sit in the corner, we're playing dominoes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would say that we have to recognize that this is 2021. The things have changed. We're growing. And there's gone are the days where, like, it's the woman's job to be in the kitchen. Gone are the days where it's a dad's job to be at work all the time. We got to start showing our kids that, they can be more than what society makes them out to be. That is whether you're a boy, girl, black, white, green, whatever. You can be anything you want to be in this world. And it's our jobs as fathers to showcase that, like it's funny. I'll have friends who'll sit there and, like, their wife will work all day, come home, make dinner for them on time, which is cool. That's their household. But I like the fact that, my mom didn't have any girls. So, like, my mom wanted me to learn how to cook at a young age. My mom taught me to cook when I was 6 years old,
Exactly.
So I'm teaching my kids how to cook right now. So I'm like, hey, man, at the end of the day, you got to take care of yourself, take care of your wife, take care of your kids. So I think that we got to grow our children up in a world that's like, hey, just because you have doesn't matter what you have between your legs. You can do whatever you want to do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I was in grade 7. I was the only boy in home economics class by all the girls' numbers. You know what I'm saying? So
hey, that's what I'm saying, though, right? Pimpin'. Hey.
So yeah, I think that, like, with my son right now, like, anything he wants to do, he wants to learn to do something. Let's learn to do it together. You want to sew? Let's sew. When you get older, you gotta iron shirts, man. Start iron your own shirts. Can't be relying on anybody. You gotta be able to take care of yourself. So I think it's a really big piece, and I think we just gotta stop just pigeonholing people and telling them what they gotta do and what they can't do, and allow people just to be. So that's my advice.
I feel you. So
I agree with that, man. And I think in this day and age now, the way this world is right now, I think being a parent now is like, if you're gonna be a real parent, you gotta, like, do overtime, man.
Yeah.
Because this world is crazy, bro. Like, there's so many crazy things. Like, technology is like, how many kids lose their lives online because of stupid other, it's ridiculous. So you got to work overtime now as a parent, man. And you got to, like you said, if your kid want to sew, man, teach him how to sew, and said you can still be a man and sew.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it,
But there's too many stereotypes, man. You have to think about that, right? Just like Kootenai was saying, men will tell their boys, stop crying, stop being a girl. You know what I mean? There's nothing. Get up. You know what I mean? Instead of letting that kid express themselves. And just, if they're in pain, they're in pain, man. How are you going to tell somebody who's in pain they're not in pain?
Yeah.
Whether it's mentally or physically, you know what I mean? You got to let people grow.
Yeah, that took me like 25 years to figure out, right? I took like a university and class, and they're telling me like how boys don't get to express themselves. And I remember my oldest son was only like 10, and like I'm like, you all right? Then like if you want to cry, you could cry. And then this guy just bawled like a baby for like an hour. I just held him, and I was like, man, because like I was pretty mean to him, right? You know, you got that stereotype, like, you know, you got to be hard. It's a hard world. Boys don't cry. Like, you be crying, stop crying. And he would stop crying right away. Like, it took me a long time. That was like my fault, right? That
Yeah.
I had to fix myself, even to this day. You know, like I could see it. It's just something with my kids. I don't know. I got to work on my patience, which I've been trying to do. It's just sometimes, you know, expect your kids to be perfect. So when they mess up something, it just makes me that much more angry. I'm like, all right, you got to cool down. You can't be like that, you know, just because I get something easy, right? My whole life I get stuff functions like math and that I could do it. And when my kids can't do it, I'm like, man, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know, like that's how I feel. But that's
Yeah.
just me. So that's just me working on myself, right? You gotta always continue to work on yourself as you get older. And like patience, that's what I would tell my kids. Like you gotta be patient. Not everything's gonna happen right away. You have to be patient, and like I said, and your way with words. You know, like I said, I talked pretty bad to my kid growing up. Like, you know, there's just that tone, and you could almost see the life be sucked out of them the way that you talk to them and express your tone with them.
Yeah.
And then, you know, my wife told me that she's like, the way you talk to him after he plays his basketball game, she's like, you're always focusing on the bad stuff. It's like, oh, you had a turnover here. How come you did this instead of that? Instead of saying, hey, that's a good drive. You made a good layup. You did good. Cause he does good in games. But you know that I was like, well, you know, I'm just trying to help him focus. She's like, her and my mom both told me, you know, you need to refocus your direction instead of saying, what were you doing that play? That was a turnover. You could have drove. You could have did this. You got to focus on some good, and then, you know, tell him
Yeah,
what
you
you
have
did
to
on
go with the
that.
bad. You can't butter him up all the way,
Yeah.
but you can't just go hard at him from the gate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's hard though sometimes. I get that. I get that with Antoine. Someone plays
Yeah.
like Div 1 ball and like, Antoine, man, post up. You know, he comes out of the game scoring 50 points. And I'm talking to him about one messed up play, right? So
Right.
I get that.
That's just the father's nature, right? And like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would never suspected anything like that. But yeah, my mom and my wife were telling me that. They're like, yo, it's just the way you talk to him is like, look at the way his energy just goes after a game because you just tell him what he did wrong. I was like, all right, I could work on that.
Smart
Still
though.
working on that, you know.
Yeah.
Still learning
That's some
at
some
age
good advice.
15.
Well, yeah, like I agree with you. You make some good points there, bro. And the thing is, too, what we got to look at is, listen, man. No matter how old we are, we still a student. We're still learning.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every day we're learning something. We're learning to be a better parent every day. You know.
And a better person.
Huh?
Yeah.
And a better person.
Exactly. Every day we learn it, man. You know. But there's one thing. I was talking to a guy last week, and I don't know how you guys gonna view this, but he told me not once while his kid was growing up he ever changed a diaper or something like that.
Oh yeah.
I change diapers all the time, man. That's like
Yo,
my
me
thing.
too, man.
That's my thing. I tell my wife that do you breastfeed? Because I can't do it. I'll change the diapers. You know?
I got the diaper, yeah.
Yeah.
No problem. So for me, that kind of caught me off guard. I was like, what?
That's
Not
weird.
once? So I asked him, I'm like, listen,
The one
so
that's a doo-doo.
what happened when your wife was out?
He says weird.
Right? Yeah, but no,
Sorry.
like we were just talking about parent things, you know, and that came up. And then I'm like, so what happened when your wife was gone out, bro? Right? She's out with her friends or she's out getting groceries or something, you know. Homeboy's like, oh, yeah, I just let him stay there until she comes home.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yo, see
Yeah.
where I'm going now? I'm like,
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.